Today's video was one of the more difficult ones to do. I have been asked by people to cover this issue with the John McCain. People lost loved ones. People don't have sons anymore because of these issues that happened with the Fitzgerald and the McCain. And they've asked me about many times why I'm the only person talking about it. I know why, and I have been also asked to try to keep politics out of it, but nothing happens in a vacuum. So, having been asked today, I am going to tell you why no one is covering the issue with the Fitzgerald and the McCain, and I'm going to walk you through why that's happening. Now, everybody's familiar with this picture. This is the port side rear of the McCain where the MC Alnick hit. This particular incident is a great demonstration tool to show you how wrong the story with the Fitzgerald was. Now, here they talk about, and this is what they've said was the issue all along with all of these issues. No one else on the McCain's bridge seemed to know what they were doing, either the ship's commander. When they belatedly realized a current was pushing them onto a collision course with an oncoming ship, they tried to adjust the steering, reconfiguring it 5 times in 3 minutes before impact. Instead of correcting course, they lost control of the ship. The Fitzgerald, they didn't have lookouts on one side, and they've gone through all this litany of things that were wrong with training and maintenance and all this baloney. Now, on this other tab, a minute later, 5:24 a.m., McCain crossed in front of Alnick's bow and was hitting in berthing compartments 3 and 5. The collision created a 28-foot diameter hole both below and above McCain's waterline. Now remember, folks, the hole for the Fitzgerald was 13 by 17. So this was even a bigger hole than the one for the McCain. Excuse me, the one for the Fitzgerald, I'm sorry. All 10 sailors killed in the collision were below the waterline in berthing compartment 5. The space, normally 15 feet wide, was compacted by the collision to 5 feet wide and flooded in less than a minute. According to Navy investigators, 2 sailors in the compartment were able to escape. Now, that's, that's a great place to stop right there. 12 sailors in the compartment, 10 were killed. The entire thing flooded in less than a minute. So we can say that more than likely, in less than 10 minutes, all 10 of these sailors were dead. Okay, and that's in an area that only had 12 sailors. Now, let's go back to the report, or the statements made by the Admiral about the Fitzgerald. The ship suffered severe damage, rapidly flooding 3 large compartments that included a machinery room, 2 berthing areas for 116 crew. And they've also stated that the vast majority of the ship was asleep at this time because of the time in the morning. So you're saying that only 7 people of 116 died in this event. So there's 116 people in this area. They get a giant smack. Water starts rushing in. But 90+% of them live. In the other case, 90-something% die within 10 minutes. That's what makes this unbelievable. This issue with the Fitzgerald and their story about them not having proper training or them not knowing how to operate their ship. Now, I want to find this other one here. Okay, here's their overall statements on the Fitz and the McCain. The collision between the Fitz and the Crystal, accumulation of smaller errors over time, a lack of adherence, leadership failed to adhere to well-established protocols, same thing with the McCain, basically. So that's what I wanted to cover here. That's the story from the Navy. The story from the Navy was, it's our fault, our guys didn't know what they were doing, they were poorly trained, and were tired, and all this. Yet, in both cases, especially in the case of the Fitzgerald, after the event happened, their actions were described as heroic and professional, life-saving, masterful. How is it that you can say a crew that when you take the thing they have to do every single day, like pilot their ship, And they do. And they've piloted the McCain over there. It's been forward deployed for, I think, 20 years. In and out of shipping lanes, around other ships. They do it every single day, day after day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't know how to do that. The thing they have to do every day. But the thing that most of these guys have probably never had to do in their entire careers, which is save a ship from sinking, they are absolutely masters of their domain. How does that work? It's a giant lie. It's an absolute, incredibly big, fictitious lie about what happened with the Fitzgerald and the reasons of what was going on. Now, here's going to be the unpopular part of the video. All of you, those of you who are members of the Adminis Twitter cult that would be violating tenets of your Adminis Twitter religion need to shut off the video right now. Because I'm going to show something you're not going to like. And I have tried to not tie these two things directly together, but it is undeniable because in the beginning, this was covered. There were a lot of people talking about this, but they had an agenda. And once their agenda was fulfilled, they stopped talking about it. No one looked into it because they take stories like this and they try to make money off of them. They try to make political hay out of them. And then once they stop serving that purpose, they move on. This was the only guy that talked about this. His name's Michael Savage. And this was the last word he had on this. And I'm going to play it for you in his own words.
Freighter was on autopilot when it hit U.S. destroyer. Now, that's a big story.
And it sped up.
I told you there was negligence on the part of the U.S. Navy ship. That's a given. That's been confirmed. Not one alarm went off on the U.S. Navy ship Fitzgerald when it was hit by the freighter. That means, to me, and I was the only one in the media who told you what was wrong because I'm a boater. So far as I know, no one else in the media, at least that I know of, I could be wrong, has driven a boat of any size for any length of time, which I have for many years. I'm a boater for over 20 years. Both ships, to me, it looks like they were hacked. And the culprit would probably be Korea, North Korea. So the freighter was on autopilot when it made a U-turn and went into the destroyer. That's number one, which is very weird that no one noticed that it was doing a U-turn. Number two, the entire Navy crew was asleep. When a mountain is coming at them, it didn't detect it. None of our most advanced systems went off. Negligence, or all of the systems were hacked on the Navy ship. Which means that every one of our ships now can be hacked and sunk. That's the new U.S. Navy, more concerned with affirmative action and, let us say, social engineering than fighting wars. That's what happens when liberals get control of anything, they destroy it. When it comes to the military, though, it puts us at great risk. The news story came out today.
Okay. He takes a caller after this that basically he has chosen to agree with him. And that's the end. That was 3 days, I believe, after the issue. Well, it was the 24th, so it was a week after. So that was the agenda. Another club to hit the former president with. And if it's not a club that you can use to club the former Secretary of State or the former president with, or if it's not an offering unto the Adminis Twitter, then it's not going to be looked into. Because the truth of some of these things takes a little bit of thought. It takes a little bit of research, and you can't go into it with preconceived notions. That's why we looked into so many things, because we knew we were being lied to. So I'm sorry, but the truth hurts. That's just the way it is. And if you think alternative media here is any difference, where are the voices? All of those people that were on YouTube the last 8 years have all abandoned YouTube, and they don't talk about things like this anymore. Do you know why? They can't make money. I don't have any issue with demonetization anymore. That's why we do this with the phone, because it beats the algorithm. It shows the act is live action. It's a simple thing. So it's not a fun thing. It's not a cool thing. It's not all these people who were touting themselves as the, saviors of America and true liberty and patriots and all this other crap, all fled to Patreon, got their hats out in hand, begging you for money. Ever heard that here? Ever seen me try to put up a website? Ask you for a dime? And for all of these that are going to, say that you're going to go down in the comments and say you're going to unsubscribe, like everyone else who's done it, I'll tell you what I tell them. Unsubscribe twice, just to be sure. Please take 2 friends with you. If a year from now, this channel was back down to having 2 subscribers and it was just me playing guitar, happy as a clam. Don't care. I wasn't part of either one of your parties out there. And I have shown proof, beyond the shadow of doubt, to back up my basis that we have one party ruling this country called the Republicrats. And they give you this false choice. But nobody wants to hear the truth. So that's why I've talked about the issue in South America. It's a much bigger issue. And in the next year, it's going to come to fruition. That's why you don't see it covered in the media. Because it's not something down there where they can either beat up the last administration or adore the current one. And that's the only thing that drives the vast majority of these channels out here, is the drive for money. And it's, that Fox is just as bad as CNN. They are two peas in a pod to me. I see absolutely no difference between them. So, other than just the end they play. So, anyway, pray for the families of these sailors. If you really want to do something that means something, pray for the families of these sailors. They're never going to get the justice they deserve. They're never going to get the Purple Hearts they deserve. They're never going to get the story told that these men were in combat's way. They were in harm's way, and they died. The last thing I'll say about this, and it comes from my time in intelligence, the most dangerous enemy you can ever have is the one that you don't know you have. And these 19 sailors, the 10 from the McCain, the 7 from the Fitzgerald, and the 2 that mysteriously went overboard, were fighting an enemy they didn't know they had. There is no crew of any vessel, any warship, anywhere that is prepared for a merchant vessel to decide to ram it. They're out there in a busy ship, and somebody decides they want to attack the electronics of this ship, the McCain, and steer it in front of another one. There's no way to prepare for that when you don't know it's coming. The crew of the Fitz out there, they had no clue. There's no training program in the Navy that says this is what you do if you think a merchant vessel is targeting you. And we clearly watched on the AIS that the Crystal made 2 turns, both designed to intercept the Fitzgerald, and then circled around again. But nobody talks about it because it doesn't make them money. So I'll leave it there. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. God bless. We'll see you next time.